A few weeks ago, we talked about Abigail Wilson's protest and how it made disc golf go viral. In response to that, Jeff Spring basically went on, he talked about it a few different times, but also went on the Tour Life podcast and set the record straight from the Pro Tour side on a lot of different claims. Abigail Wilson, made a post on Facebook giving her side of the story a little bit. So typically when you have two people giving two different sides, the truth somewhere in the middle, typically. But I did want to just kind of read over some of the things that Abigail Wilson pointed out, and then I do want to clarify on a few things that I thought were interesting as well.
Okay.
So she says, false claims were made on the Tour Life interview with Jeff Spring, and I will now share the facts.
Interesting that Tour Life is promoting false information, allegedly.
The Tour Life interview.
Allegedly.
Tour Life interview. So Tour Life didn't promote anything.
Tour Life sucks.
So Abby claims that at minute 11:52, Jeff states they told her in advance what the safety protocol was. Here's a quote from a phone call I had with the Disc Golf Pro Tour staffer on 4/3 when I requested new tee time. Picture number 1. So this is her quote from the staff member of a phone call.
Are these real transcripts?
I don't know if this is just she wrote it up or if she got the transcript.
I don't know how would you get transcripts.
I find this the most interesting part of this is the quote just
quote from a Disc Golf Pro Tour staff member.
Is that a new Siri thing?
Only thing I was ever told about security prior to the event from anyone. I'll just say, first off, we have been very diligent about security and mitigation. I think it's a quote because she has in there, and you're not just typing out
That sounds like a transcript.
I'll just say, first off, we have been very diligent about security and mitigation of any potential dangers or threats. And this we have, and then this year there is a planned protest, but there's not many people that we expect to be involved with that. What I'm trying to say right now is we've done everything in our power to create safety and security on site for the players. There's going to be bag checks. I'll also have you know that if everyone had this request, we wouldn't even be able to really fulfill it. It's a tough position to kind of put us in, asking us to do that.
She most likely recorded the call. If you know you're going to be doing something like this and there's a lot of legal implications,
how do you record
she probably with another person's phone.
Well, legal implication-wise, did they know they were on a recorded line? Who knows?
True.
I don't know. But anyways, that's possibly a quote, possibly just type out. I don't know. Regardless, that's what she claims on this. She said, I did, however, try to contact the Pro Tour CEO and TD prior to having my phone call, but neither responded. Pictures 2 and 3 show what I requested and why. He also states that I interacted with Seth, the director of security on site. My interaction with Seth was brief and not related to security. They state as much in their emails of the evening 4/4, picture number 4, which picture number 4 is... basically the one email here, which I can't scroll down to see for whatever reason, but Seth was basically, he says, like, it was a pleasure chatting to you and your husband. I was the one talking about, I think he said about the Indian clubs. So I don't know what they were chatting about, but I think he's referring, I think she was basically saying, like, she did talk to Seth that morning, as was stated, but it wasn't in regards to security.
Talking about the Indian clubs.
So I
think that's more interesting.
I don't know what that is. I don't know. I can't read the rest of the email because for some reason it's not loading.
I'll give it a quick Google.
But
yeah, go see where that leads you.
Yeah, see where that leads you, Con. But so it is true she talked to Seth, not about security. So I think what all this stemmed from was she did not want to be on the tee time that she was on, mainly due to security concerns with Natalie Ryan. The Pro Tour is claiming, per PDGA rules, tee times have to be random. It sounds like she got bad information from the phone call on number 1 because this first person didn't say, "Hey, we can't change tee times per PDGA rules." They were basically just like, "Yeah, I don't really know. We can't do this." So then her concern with safety concerns, very real, because last year there was a threat at this event.
Yeah.
And so going into this event, having safety concerns, completely fair point. It seems like the Pro Tour is saying, we told you about everything. We had protocols in place. She's saying, no one really told me about these protocols. So then, as she says at minute 15:10, Jeff states again, they did tell me about security and how I just did not recognize them. Then he shared that they did not communicate it to me and that there were security offers there. Minute 16:10, Jeff states his staff prepared well. This may be true, but never informed me about any of it except the bag checks, which at 17 minutes, Jeff says they will not check players' bags, which I think that's interesting. If you're doing bag checks,
that is interesting.
Why aren't you checking everyone's bags? I don't know if that's true or not. But I don't know if that was a misspeak by Jeff or a misquote. I don't know. But if you are doing bag checks, I feel like everyone's bag should be checked. Anyways, next I will attach the misgendering policy that Jeff Spring claims did not exist at minute 24:17. No, there is not any compelled speech in terms of policy. Picture number 5 is the policy and disciplinary action if you do not comply. Picture number 6 is what I was a transcript of what I was told about the misgendering policy, and picture number 7 is a screenshot of the text I received after our phone call confirming that all my requests will be denied and being encouraged to look over the Pro Tour policy.
This is where it gets crazy.
So
She's got receipts.
Continues me. Yes, please, Facebook.
I
just got logged out of Facebook.
Oh no.
You got timed out. They're covering this up. They're listening.
Here, while you're getting logged back in, I figured out what an Indian club is.
Okay.
According to Gemini.
Oh no.
Oh no.
No, this is actually this could make sense.
Okay.
Okay, so an Indian club is a type of exercise equipment, typically wooden and shaped like a large bottle.
That you do the shoulder thing.
It's swung for gymnastic exercise.
Yeah, okay.
So
that makes perfect sense.
Aren't you glad
I'm glad you looked it up.
Yeah.
That makes way more sense.
Good
I just
job,
thought
Con.
that they
Great
were
discretion, Con.
I thought they were just like talking about, where to get Indian food. Jeff Spring states there's not a policy about compelled speech. Here's the policy that states you must refer to others by what you identify as compelled speech, ... So the first screenshot is just from the Google AI, which is poll stuff. The second is their actual policy. So I'll just read that.
Yeah, putting in the AI situation there is ridiculous.
Targeted attack based on gender identity. Purposely and maliciously misgender any person, player, commentator, or others suggests that their gender identity is not valid. Calling a trans woman a man or calling a trans man a woman is violation of this standard. So that's a screenshot from the Pro Tour site. I'll explain where that actually comes from in a second. These quotes come directly after being told I was putting them in a tough position and requesting new tee time. Now, this staffer, from what I understand, Jeff Spring, I don't think it fully agrees with what the staffer had said. So I don't know who the staffer was, but it just
release the name.
So Abby, this is the picture Abby posted. It's an unpleasant situation for all of us and FPO players to have to play with him in the first place, and I get that you are doing so much to protect us. DGPT staffer said, I'm just going to tell you right now that if you use the wrong pronouns, that is against our policy, and that can actually be grounds for tournament warning. So she said, I didn't realize that. Discard Pro Tour staffer said, I'm not taking a stance in either direction here. I'm just telling you Pro Tour policy. So yeah, I'm going to pretend I did not hear that, and I'm going to have to let you know that right now. So that's a staffer there.
Okay, I will say this. I think the first time that information was released, it was without the first reply. It was just I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. And it made it seem like he said it real angry, like he or she. But now with the other context, it's more like hey, like that is technically in our policy, so I'm just going to pretend it. Like it definitely paints a different picture.
Now, picture 7, the next one said, even after expressing my safety concern to 3 people prior to the event, the only one to respond ignored that and focused on it being a cardmate preference, quote unquote. I wonder if greater notoriety would have gotten me a different response. So this is the response, I guess, that she got back, she being Abby. I've confirmed we don't fulfill requests to change tee times based on cardmate preference. If you would like to drop from the event, please contact the tournament director, Zachary Hoy, to officially withdraw. For a refund request, you can fill out the form on the Pro Tour player resource page and give your reasoning for the request. However, being outside of the refund policy, it's likely to be denied. If you need more clarity on any of our policies or have any other questions, feel free to reach out to operations@Disc Golf Pro Tour. Where this policy came from, because Jeff Spring has come out and made a statement that they support, basically the protest that Abby did, not support in the sense of like what she was protesting, but they support the player's right to protest. Any player, either way, they support their right to protest. The screenshot that she has on the policy is from their community guidelines. This community guidelines, so what it says in it, Disc Golf Pro Tour community is encouraged to actively engage in healthy debate in the Pro Tour social spaces on a variety of topics. However, the Pro Tour does not condone any hate speech or sanction any language that demeans, disrespects, or inappropriately addresses other people. On all DGPT social media channels, on the DGPT YouTube channel, on the Disc Golf Network, and in person in our events, the following community standards are in place. Individuals may be restricted or removed from social spaces, have their comments deleted, or can otherwise be acted upon if they engage in any of the following behavior. So, and then that under that is the targeted attacks based on gender identity. So, enforcement, basically the Pro Tour community guidelines are intended to create a safe professional environment for players, fans, and personnel. The guidelines are not intended to enforce any specific opinion or ideology, but to prevent and address bullying and harassment. If a comment is deleted, it's because it's not compliant. The deletion of comments. I'm trying to see if, here you go. The Pro Tour also has a security team at all events. People who violate these community standards on site will also be warned or removed from the event grounds. So I think where the reading between all the lines of what was said, I think this policy does exist. It was written more towards fans than towards players, but I think it does apply to players as well.
Yeah.
So I think Jeff was more saying, we don't have this player policy. This doesn't exist. He must either not be thinking of, or maybe I wasn't aware of the exact wording, how it could be applied of the community guidelines. Because to Abby's point, it is right that the guideline does exist, the policy does exist. It's the community guidelines, which so far the enforcement has more been like, that's why you see most of the time there's no live chat. That's why a lot of comments are turned off on Pro Tour posts about certain topics, so on and so forth. Like, that's more where we see this policy play out. But it does say in person at our events, following the community standards are in place. And then it does say the Pro Tour security teams, people who violate these, could be warned or removed from the event grounds. So I think this policy was written more towards fans, but there's nothing in it saying players are exempt from it, which means it also does apply to players. So Abby is in the right there that this policy, and from how I read it, would apply to players. But I think that it's probably where Jeff Spring was saying there's not policy, is he was probably trying to talk specifically about player policy, which I don't have the player handbook. I don't know if that's available online, but that's how I understood it. So it's a little bit of a he said, she said, but at the end of the day, what we know is it seems that basically the Pro Tour, I think that there is not clear communication through all of the different channels leading into this event. So therefore, Abigail Wilson got kind of just thrown through the channels when, like, basically she was getting different answers from every single place she turned, and no one really knew how to handle what she was asking, which led to confusion. Then her protest, it seems the Pro Tour's like, there's not going to be disciplinary action from everything I've seen as far as the protest goes. You had every right to do it, and everything's fine. Whether I don't believe she's going to choose to play anymore on the Pro Tour, that I think is up to her from what I understand, but it does seem that if she were to continue to misgender, that could be against community guidelines of the Pro Tour, and what disciplinary action they would or could take from that, I'm not sure. It didn't say anything about revoking of tour cards or anything like that. It basically just looked like it was an event-to-event basis. So who knows? But I wanted to at least update that because there was a lot of information that was out there that now Abigail Wilson's saying, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true. Here's my side. So now you have both sides of the story. You decide.